If you all are casting bets right now on who has the advantage, I'm going to say advantage to Coach Walz. But, you know, I've also have experience with video games. And I play League, I play other slower games, Stardew, but I have like, a fair amount of Super Smash Bros under my belt too. So on mechanics, I don't know. I don't know, but I will say I had a little bit of a Stardew binge last night, and then I forgot all the controls for Madden. So I don't know. So we're gonna be playing games, and I also want you all to know that this is going to be a substantive conversation too. And so we're not going to be sidelining important issues. It's important to me that we are able to talk about things that are really important to us. And of course, as we know, and this is one of the things that I've been doing when I hit the road and getting out the vote in places like Pennsylvania, Wisconsin. I have a couple of other campaign stops that are really exciting that we're going to be announcing, that I'll be at next week. And one of the things that we've been talking about is that the Democratic Party is a coalition. We don't all share the same politics. We don't all share the same views. But the need to defeat Trump this year has been my number one priority. I represent a district in New York that's one of the most diverse communities in the world, in Jackson Heights, hundreds of languages that we see spoken in so many different places. My district is super working class. You know, I come from a working class background, and my politics are what they are. I mean, I think people know it's pretty clear where I'm at with a lot of different things. I believe in improved and expanded Medicare for all. I believe in a Green New Deal, obviously. I believe in strong union efforts, and I believe in strong laws to strengthen unionization in the United States, like passing the PRO Act. I believe in passing a $15 minimum wage, and I think we needed to do that yesterday, and probably that minimum wage needs to be higher now. So these are all the things that I believe. Does every single Democrat believe what I believe? No, but a big part of my job is to persuade other Democrats and people in general to be in alignment with that. And I actually think we've been pretty successful over the last couple of years. The U.S. House of Representatives, we did pass a $15 minimum wage over 2 years ago. We have passed major provisions, and really the big hurdle to get past now is the Senate. And this year, if we're able to win back the House, which is currently under Republican control, if we're able to win the Senate, which is in balance this year. So we're not just talking about organizing for Harris Walz, but if we can reelect people like Bob Casey in Pennsylvania, if we can pick up Senate seats, if we can protect people like John Tester, then we have a shot at taking the Senate and holding the Senate. And if we can do that, they have committed to waiving the filibuster in order to pass provisions like codifying Roe v. Wade and our abortion rights in the Senate. And for a lot of people who say, well, when Democrats had a trifecta, 4 years ago, why weren't we able to codify Roe? You can thank people like Kirsten Sinema, who then became primaried by another Democrat, Ruben Gallego, successfully this year. Ruben Gallego's up in Arizona, who has talked about committing to codifying Roe v. Wade. And so the Democrats that were blocking a lot of these crucial provisions, like Joe Manchin and Kirsten Sinema, are not around anymore. And if we can win and hold a Senate majority, win back the House, and elect Harrison Walz, we've got the pen. And so, to me, as a progressive Democrat, as many other things, which we're going for the middle here, right? And so I think what we want to make sure that we do is line up the board so that we have a chance to fight. And that to me is profoundly, profoundly important. And so I'm really excited to be doing this. I'm really excited to be with you all. I'm really excited to see all of the views that you all are expressing in the chat. And my goal is for us to be able to try to navigate this conversation, bridge these gaps, acknowledge, and bring up policy, housing, healthcare, ending endless war, talking about what's going on in Gaza and how we can all come together as well to live another day in our democracy and have our democracy live another day. And so this is to me the difference between coalition work and just doing this rah-rah Democrat thing where we pretend that we don't have differences. At the end of the day, elections are tactical and they're strategic. I don't see elections as an end. I see elections as the beginning. It's a day one. And to me, I know this year there's been lots of conversations about decisions that I make and how I move. And I think that it's totally fair and legitimate to have criticisms, disagreements, etc. But to me, when I think about and see how people make these calculated decisions, I also feel like I learned a lot from the Biden election as well. When you become a crucial member of that delivers victory, then you become a person that can, not just a person, a segment of the coalition that can help influence policy far more deeply. Because to me, something that is very marginalizing and disempowering for our agenda is proving to people that they can win without us. And we don't make that case by forcing losses, because when the Democratic Party loses or when our margin is razor thin, then in general, they move to the right. Parties are moved to the left in primary elections, in coalition politics, and in being honest with each other. And so I think that this conversation is super important. I think that the stakes of this election are incredibly high. Donald Trump is a fascist. That's not a name that I'm calling somebody. That is not, I'm not saying that to lob an insult or to be hyperbolic. This is a man who has met behind closed doors with oil executives saying, you support my reelect and I will hand you the keys of governmental power so that we can burn our climate to the crisp. Climate news has been keeping me up, in particular the last 1 to 2 weeks, because I don't know, for some of y'all who may or may not be following some of the headlines here, our carbon sinks in some areas just stopped working this year. Scientists did not predict this. And for people who may not know, you have carbon emissions, which is, burning fossil fuels is one form of carbon emissions. But then you also have carbon sinks. These are things like the Amazon rainforests. These are things like algae growth in some of our oceans and some of our natural systems that take the carbon in the air and sequester it. And it's the balance between carbon emissions and carbon sequestration, carbon sinks, that allow us to balance carbon in the air. And in the last 1 to 2 weeks, this science came out that that our carbon sinks in some areas just stopped working. It was basically neutral. This is not predicted. And there are red alerts around our biological systems around the planet that are happening all the time. And the oil and gas industry is just one example of where Donald Trump has just gone to CEOs and industry executives and basically just said, take the pen. We saw in the last couple of days, LA Times I believe LA Times is a billionaire owner. Is that right? LA Times is a billionaire owner. Washington Post, Jeff Bezos, as we know, which we went toe to toe with him on Amazon HQ2 out here in Queens. Bezos and these owners basically unilaterally told their editorial teams to not endorse, despite their editorial teams moving to endorse Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. This, to me, what was it is a plutocracy mask off moment. And so when we say Donald Trump is a fascist, fascism, a huge component of fascism, is uniting racism, bigotry, a form of racist nationalism with industry, and also uniting the keys of government with billionaires and for-profit actors in order to stamp out democracy, in order to stamp out everyday people, working people, and the general public deciding what we do with public tools and resources. And that comes hand in hand because it's anti-democratic, because it's against the will of the majority of people. It also means dismantling our democratic tools. It means attacking the right to vote. It means enhancing authoritarianism in the United States. It means all sorts of stuff. So I'm coming on here. I know some of y'all are asking, where's Governor Walz? We're warming up here. He's going to be coming on in about 15 minutes. But I'm taking a look at what you all are doing here. And don't you worry, we're going to be talking about all sorts of policy work as well. But I'm just really excited and really thrilled that we're going to be doing this today. And let's go play some Madden. Let's go do some of that stuff. But before then, I wanted to just show off a little bit of my Stardew farm for you guys. I have two. So we've got my Stardew farm. I wanted to show you all. This is going to mess me up though, because obviously the Stardew controls. First of all, I'm playing Stardew on a Switch, which is probably the worst console that I found out afterwards to be playing Stardew on. I was shocked when I found out people, I mean, probably most people, but when I see these streamers building their farms so fast, and I'm like, oh, they're playing on TV. They're playing on PC. And I'm out here doing like one square at a time. So first of all, I want to show off my farm a little bit. This is my personal farm, which is Alexandria. And then I started a new farm last night, which I named the AOC farm. This is supposed to say Capital Critter Farm, but the R got cut off. But I'm going to show you, I want to show off because I don't want y'all to think that I'm new to this. I'm true to this, okay? I got 169 hours in. Someone asked me, who did I marry? I am unmarried, period, okay? I don't need no man on my farm. I'm just kidding. I mean, I'm not kidding about either of those things, but it's a choice. Checking my mail, okay? Pam, I may have given her alcohol. I forgot what that was about, but okay, it's wintertime. So I'm just proud of my farm here. Look, I got my mayonnaise to pick up. Oh, they're not happy with me. Uh-oh. Okay, the duck is not happy with me. I forget what the duck's name is. Is it Rotsley? Oh, shoot. Hold on. I got my hay. Wait. Okay. I mean, maybe Governor Walz can check out my farm. I think he'd appreciate it. This is what I do instead of quitting my job and going to the Catskills and starting my own farm. I go to Stardew. I go to my Stardew farm. Oops. That's my scythe. But here's where it's really at. We've got, check this out. Wait, do I have room for this? Yeah. The worst is sometimes I accidentally Sometimes I accidentally put off a bomb in here. I've done that before. I've accidentally bombed my crops before. It's so frustrating. Okay, let's make some pineapple jam. I'm excited. Maybe make some starfruit wine. These are the money makers out here. What I'm making money for, I don't know. So I got to be practicing discipline because this is what happens in real life, right? Like people get too lost in the sauce, and then it's like, what are you doing? What are you doing all this for? All right. I think I freed up I think I have some casts that are free too. So. Ba, ba, ba. All right. I'm making, I think it's pineapple jam. That's what you want to do. See, I use those in the front as timers. I think people do that. I think that's like a common technique, right? All right, y'all. Someone said if I could do a stream with Bernie. I almost did this week. Our schedules didn't line up. I thought it'd be funny if he could like play chess with me, but I don't know if Bernie's. I don't know how set up Bernie is for that. I can ask him. He might do it. He might also be skeptical. I don't know. He would chat though. He would just chat. He would definitely just chat. He did that earlier this week with Pokey and someone else. Get my clay. Okay, so anyways, this is my old farm. I haven't played in like a year, but I want to show you my new farm. I started this last night, so I have a lot of things that I got to do. Oh, is it Valkyrie? Okay, I didn't mean to, and Austin. Okay, thanks, chat. Yeah, okay, it was Valkyrie and Austin that did the chat with Bernie this week. Pokey, Valkyrie, and Austin. I wasn't trying to erase anybody. Okay, so check out, this is my Congress farm. Look at my outfit. I got a suit on. I'm formal here, formal wear for the governor. Got to dress up, you know what I'm saying? I can't be showing up incorrect. I really enjoy mining in Stardew Valley. I'm big on the mines. I yearn for the mines in Stardew. Let's see. Oh, someone said, oh, okay, great. We got some folks in my district here that are on the chat, which I'm really excited for. If you're in New York, early voting started yesterday. If you're in New York, early voting yesterday. If you got your Halloween costumes, show up to the polls in your Halloween costume. Take a Halloween selfie at the polls. Make it fun. Remind people. And honestly, I'm a big believer in poll selfies. Obviously, when you're in the booth, you need to check with your state because some states don't let you take a photo of your like filled out ballot. Some states do. Oh, shoot. Hold on. I forgot. I'm new here. Oh, God. Slimes. I didn't check my luck. So we're about to find out if this is a bad luck day or not. Oh, shoot. Oh, God. I get my butt kicked out here. I got the broken sword. You can see it in the thing. Ooh. I'm taking a look at, I'm trying to both read chat and fight a slime down here at the same time. Look, he's angry at me. Oh, okay. I don't see a lot of, I don't want to see a lot of ores here. I don't see a lot of copper or iron ores at the moment. I'm assuming this is a bad luck day. I'm interested in some of the things y'all are wanting to hear from the governor on policy. Like, what are some of the things that are important to you to hear from him on that I can ask him about? Oh, for people that are asking me if I'm playing the Giants or the Bills on Madden, I mean, Giants or the Jets on Madden, I'm playing the Bills. Sorry. Okay, people want to hear about hold on. They want to hear, I'm trying to scroll out here. People want to hear about student debt relief. They want to hear about, let's see, trans rights, protecting trans kids, Medicare for all. They want to hear about sanctions. They want to hear about housing. Housing is so huge. Raising the amount of Social Security. You know, a lot of people on Social Security, a lot of people don't know that Social Security isn't just something that you get when you're older, but my family got Social Security because my dad passed away when I was young. When I was like 18, my dad passed away, but I had a younger brother. Well, I have a younger brother. And my younger brother obviously was under 18 at the time. And if you are young, if you are under the age of 18, or if you're widowed at any age, Social Security actually can benefit you. And if you are under the age of 18 and you have a parent that passes away, obviously I hope that never happens to anybody, but it happened to my family. You get Social Security payments because you lost a parent, and your parent, you don't have the same kind of financial security that a child would normally get with two parents, whether your two parents work or not. If your other parent is doing your child care, then, the parent that you had, your surviving parent, may have to start working 2 jobs, 3 jobs, and Social Security can actually help. And so Social Security helped my family, and so it is for seniors. It's not for seniors, it's for all of us, because ideally all of us will be able to age to a point where we get Social Security. So Social Security is for all of us, but it can also enter your life at a much sooner time than you might think. And so the question on Social Security is really legit. People want to talk about Gaza. People want to talk about, they want to talk about housing, universal childcare. Let's see, Medicare for all, getting money out of politics, which is like so huge for me. So looks like the governor's ready. Let me get my levels right here. Let me see if we can make this. Okay, cool. Just getting the Stardew noise is very loud. All right. And I think the governor's ready. I think he's ready to come on. So let me just exit Stardew, because let's see. All right. And can I close it? Because the music is super loud.
Hey, Representative.
Hey, hold on a second. 1 second. Sorry, Governor. The Stardew audio is super loud in my ear. I'm just trying to make sure I can hear you correctly, Governor. Thanks so much for joining us.
I think I'm guilty. I took you away from Stardew.
Oh, no, don't be.
So it's Stardew Valley appears like it's in Minnesota. You got mining, you got agriculture, you got snow, I guess maybe upstate New York.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I felt like you might like Stardew, because you could probably give me some tips on a whole different amount of things that
I saw you farming there. That's my rap there of being around farming. So no, it's good. Hey, thanks for having me. I was enjoying the heck out of that. Yeah, I just learned something too. I did not know. Maybe I should have. That what we have in common. My dad too passed away when I was 19. I had a little brother in elementary school, and I talk about it too. The Social Security survivor benefits protected my family, protected my mom.
I had no idea. I
My
had no
little
idea.
brother
I'm
was
sorry to
able
hear
to
that.
collect it. Yeah, no, and you too. Like you said, you don't want it to happen to anybody, but boy, I'm certainly grateful it was there. And again, we pay into that. So I've been kind of out there because I'm a little bit miffed. Donald Trump's proposals will bust Social Security, and for families
Hmm.
like ours, it was the difference between potentially losing your home and things. So
Yeah. No,
I'm grateful to hear
totally.
you talk about it.
No, absolutely. And I'm sure you can, you know, in having that experience, I'm sure you can testify yourself in how those benefits, especially for our
Oh,
younger siblings, it can help them go to college or get an
huge.
apprenticeship or try a job for the first time. Or, my mom, my mom being able to access my dad's social security benefits as a survivor
Everything. My
benefit.
mom went back and had to get a job, to work because we didn't, medical debt broke her. But I oftentimes talk about this when I hear people say, "Oh, just pull yourself up by your bootstraps." We didn't have any boots. Social Security survivor
Yeah.
benefits were the boots, and we pulled ourselves up. And my little brother went to college, and my mom went out and got a job and continued. It's just really smart. So when I hear these guys call it a Ponzi scheme, I guess Donald Trump doesn't care if he gets a Social Security check. My 90-year-old mom does. She needs it, and she paid into
Yeah.
it. So I appreciate you saying that. But hey, how about this? I'm grateful you have me on. I'm kind of the old school guy in this. For some of you, I started out. I was of the age where Pong was coming online. Like I'm first generation gamer. I was a master of asteroids in the arcade. Was the only place you could play it. Original Pac-Man, Missile Command, some of those.
So would you
So
like hit up our arcades like they
yes,
see?
yes. And then
This is a real generational because I'm like
yeah,
in Stranger Things.
yes, they didn't have them at home. No, we didn't have the games at home. Look, there was a rich kid that got an Atari 2600. That was
Oh
the
my
black
God.
and white Pong.
With
That
like
kid
the
was rich.
red, with like the
Yeah.
red thing on
Oh, it was
top,
the it
knob
was
on top.
original, like kind of like wood grain. And this kid was so rich, they had 2 floors in their house. That thing that I couldn't believe. So if you had an upstairs, that was something. But no, it was really cool. But we would go to the arcades and thing, and then eventually it moved into like the bars. And it was a thing when you grow up in a small town, everybody's in the bar, kids and everybody
Yeah.
in at the games. So that was me. And then I got into gaming consoles. I was a Sega guy, a Dreamcast guy, which I
I
thought
heard
was going to
about
conquer.
this.
I thought it would conquer the world. You hear the story. I sold it on Facebook, and the kid who got it still has it. I think it's so great.
Are you serious?
Yes, he still has it.
Do
And
you
I
know
had
what
all
his name is? Whoever
yeah,
has Governor
yeah,
Walz's
get that kid
Dreamcast.
on here. He has it, and they did a story on him in the Minneapolis paper that he said I got Wells's Dreamcast. It looks like he played Madden. That was
Oh
like the
my
Madden with the
gosh.
little square guys that were all pixelated and everything. Not like the Madden where you're going to whip my butt on, I'm sure. Madden. So, so it's
Well,
good
I
to be
think we're
with you.
both we're definitely both Madden 25 newbies. That's right, right?
I'm a newbie. I think you didn't go out and build an ultimate team or anything, did you? You didn't do
No,
that.
no,
Well,
no, no, no,
you
no,
didn't
no.
draft. You sure?
I've never played Madden in my life until what, Friday, maybe a few days ago.
Oh,
So
thanks for doing. I have. It's been years since I played. My son, of course, Gus plays. And look, this part of it, I would have so liked to have this when we were growing up. You had to physically, not that I wouldn't want to physically be in the same room playing, but it's hard when you're in New York, and I'm in Nevada. But to play online and meet, I watch my son. He's got friends all over the world. These folks
oh,
are on together and they're playing, and you're communicating. I think those who worried about this, well, our kids aren't interacting with one another. Yes, they are. They're just using technology to do it.
I heard such a good comparison a couple years ago, which is that online gaming is like the new golf. And so
Oh,
it's like a social game that you play to build your connections. And
oh, I
I
think that's
think,
really accurate.
yeah. And like now you can just hop in a lobby or meet new people or hang out with people that and just, and that's what I'm excited about, and for us to be able to do this today, because so often political conversations are so fraught and they're so high
Yeah.
temperature. But the way that I think you can actually have an honest conversation is by having a relaxed setting to talk about serious things, but so that it's not, when
Uh,
things are set up to be so confrontational, it's hard for people to be themselves.
oh, I couldn't agree more. I got a chance. You'd appreciate this because it was in your lovely area. I got to go on a run with an influencer, Kate, and she takes you for a run in Central Park.
And
she's a really good interviewer, and it's just really relaxed. People are around, but you talk about serious things. And I think the folks who are watching today, a lot of them, there's folks that want to make you cynical about politics rather than make you joyful about it and excited. And why would you give away your power? And I think if you're given a platform here, when I first started you doing this, I told my team, I said, that is really great. My son, my 18-year-old, has been saying, you're missing an opportunity, Dad. You need to get on. These influencers know everybody. You need to talk to them. But he also warned me, he goes, don't act like you know what you're doing, because you're awful at the newer game. So I'll admit to it.
I'm terrible too. So I'm sure everyone in the chat that's watching is going to love this.
Yeah, go ahead and hammer us, folks.
But everyone's got to start from somewhere, right?
You got to learn, and it's still playing. Look, I grew up on it. I think it's great. And in Minnesota, I'm really excited. I've had interactions with kids as we're doing, esports, a lot of opportunities for college. These are game designers as well as game players, the multi-billion-dollar industry. And as AI comes around or whatever, we're trying to strike the proper balance to use AI to help cure cancer and things like that, but also make sure our privacy is protected. But I see gamers many times are at the front end of this. They're early adapters. They embrace it. And look, it's a collaborative community, and they're competitive, which I don't think is such a bad thing.
Yeah, I think so. And I'm on the House AI task force as well, and we talk a lot about this stuff.
I'm glad you're on there. I'm glad you're on there.
Thank you.
No, I am. I think it's obvious you embrace this. You're listening to people. You're getting feedback from folks who care about, and these are issues that I hope, again, folks they've convinced us to be cynical about this. I hear it all the time. I'm sure you hear it too. I'm just not into politics. Too bad. Politics is into you.
That's right.
So you got to do something about it. And I think engaging on this platform, we're in the middle of a pretty busy 9 days here, as you know.
Yes, we are.
We're going to win this election. We're going to make you put a gavel in your hand in the House, maybe for that committee, so we can get something done. Because we're still waiting on a farm bill. We're still waiting on a budget. We're still waiting on other things that they really should be doing. And I think for your listeners to understand, when you're in the House of Representatives, whoever has the gavel, that's pretty much everything, makes the decision. So if you want folks who are actually have a to-do list and want to get it done, stay engaged.
See, this is why I like you, Governor, because you were in the House, and the House is very underrated. In Capitol Hill, people kind of call the House public school and the Senate private school. And the House is rowdy. First of all, I'm a public school kid, so
I'm a public school kid, so that's not the flex they think it is.
It's not the flex they think it is, because the House, we're actually willing to use our power. That's the thing too. You put gavels in our hands in the House, we're getting hearings. We're dragging in big pharma CEOs. We're starting investigations. We're talking about the Supreme Court.
We got a farm bill done. We did conservation title. Oh, and you also got money in the summer so that we could feed kids. Thank you very much for that in Minnesota. And thank you for the infrastructure you put in. We're building bridges, roads. We're connecting our communities. These are the things you can't do alone. Try and build a highway for yourself. You guys got that done. I would say that was one of the biggest votes. I'm very proud of my vote on the ACA and those, but I'll tell you, if I had been in the House to vote on that transportation bill and to try and make it, you guys continued to do all you could to make it better. I'm really grateful for that.
Yeah, no, well, we're really
as a governor. I just got to tell you, as a governor of watching the difference of what happened when you took COVID seriously, we were trying to protect our citizens. Yeah, I'm a House guy to the core. We say we're House trained, and so
and it's like some of the hardest conditions you have to navigate in the House. So if you can really get things done in the House, I feel like you clear so many obstacles to passing. The Senate has their own things. They have kind of their norms and their customs, but in order,
maybe some of those norms, I'm just going to say, I don't know where you stand, but I'm guessing you and I are probably the same on the filibuster. But
we got to get rid of that thing. The thing that grinds my gears about it is when people act like the filibuster is some great bipartisan compromise, when it was really the result of a transcription error from the House Rules Manual. And it then became a loophole.
That happens. Yeah, errors that got happened. In Minnesota, our capital city's in St. Paul. That's because it was supposed to be in St. Peter, but One guy wanted it in St. Paul, so he just erased it and put in Paul. And now all of a sudden we have a capital in St. Paul. So sometimes it just happens. But once again, I'm glad I'm with you. Are we gonna play some ball, or what are we gonna do?
Yeah, let's do it. I'm ready to play. Are you?
I'm ready to get beat.
All right.
Yes, I'm ready.
Let's do this thing. Okay. So New York, everyone was asking me Giants or Jets. I'm playing the Bills today.
I'm with you. Amen. I'm a Bills guy. Look, I don't know. You're too young to remember, but Don Beebe back in the golden days, that guy's a Chadron State College graduate. He was my classmate.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And, he's the guy in the receiver in the Bills. So
there we go. All right. Who's up first? Oh, I'm up first. I'm kicking first. Okay, hold on.
I won did I win the toss? No, I don't. You deferred. All right. Okay.
Oh. See,
kicking's the hardest part of this game. So hey, people watching, this. Kicking is hard on this game. I'm giving you a little pre-cover there. So
yeah, I'm gonna need probably some
look at
coaching.
You.
No, you're just being nice. You're being nice to me.
I am not. I tried to do the practice kick the other day and I couldn't even get the thing to hit. So this is the Minnesota Vikings that started out 5-2 and have now lost 2 games in a row. So keep that in mind.
The Bills, we're a long-suffering franchise.
So their offense out,
but I think we both been to 5 Super Bowls and lost them. You know what? We are resilient people, and we're going to show that. That's right.
Starting the drive with a give to Jones. And he found some running room for a nice gain.
Now, Aaron Jones, I have mixed feelings. I love the guy. He's running hard, but he came to us, from a Packers, and we're pretty...
They're going to spike this one.
Oh, good hit.
No, they're not spiking it. They're going to throw.
So I had an open receiver there. I'm going to blame my old guy reactions or something, for goodness sakes.
And now this defense is on that sack board and sets up.
So when you were a coach, I imagine there's a lot of mental preparation you need to do.
There is. There's a lot of film watching.
They're hungry for another.
And there's the mental preparation. So talk about how you would go about the mental preparation and also getting your players in the right mental state, in a winning mental position.
No, it's a good question. Here's the thing that people don't think about this. Everybody wants to win, or hopes they'll win, but that's not a plan. You got to prepare for it. So, and I think the biggest thing is teaching kids to believe in the person next to them. You don't have to win the game yourself. Just do your job. So you're looking at this game right here. That right guard, he just needs to do his job and trust the guy on both sides of him. And I think that's a lot. It's like things in life. You talk about, we need to tackle hunger. That becomes too hard. If you make it too big, you got to break it into little pieces. So look, this idea of coming up with a plan, we've got a plan for the middle class. We got a plan for housing. I should give credit where credit is due. Donald Trump has a plan. It's his Project 2025. And you're following this. I mean, they're being very clear about what they're going to do. And I think your folks that are listening today, none of these things are going to be good. Getting rid of the Department of Education, my God, public school kept us all out of trouble. Kept us in a great spot.
Third down from the gun.
That guy right there, okay, here's the deal with that. That guy is the greatest receiver in the league, Justin Jefferson. And I feel like I kind of been cheating here by doing that.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he is the best.
See, the thing is too,
that was
I've been practicing. Pass. My defensive has not been going great.
This game is unbelievable. No, and I keep going back to this. This is Project 2025 from Personal Freedoms. I think a lot of folks on here are kind of independent folks, independent thinkers about things. Why would you want the government telling you what books to read or what doctor to see or how big your family can be? That kind of stuff is ridiculous. And so I think you talk about football planning, it's the same way. If you're going to draw up a playbook in football, you're going to use it. Those guys drew up a playbook, and it's Project 2025.
And they put millions of dollars into Project 2025. You don't spend millions of dollars without planning to use it.
Oh, God, no. And it's all these people around him. And J.D. Vance said, I don't know anything about it. He wrote the foreword of the book of The Architect. who wrote that. I don't know. Have you written somebody's foreword? You might have. You're kind of like, people know you.
I've written Addie Barkin's foreword to his book.
Okay, so you written one. Now see, look at how you remembered it, right? That you wrote that foreword. He's like, I don't know, maybe I did, maybe it didn't. Come on.
No, it's a big deal. It's a really, really big deal.
So that was a pretty good quarter. I'm just, are we getting, you're seeing comments or whatever. Are people like throwing shade at us? Because that seems pretty damn good to me.
People are very impressed with you.
Like
this is great.
You had some good D here. But look, I know folks think in these 9 days. We need to be more optimistic people and hopeful. I'm just tired of all the, and I'm sure you are. I don't know how you deal with it. When I was in Congress, I have to tell you, some of the people who were like terrible to work with were not like these people that you're dealing with. So I got big kudos to you.
And they've gotten a lot worse. They've gotten worse.
Oh, you're going to pick it. Okay, somebody give me a pointer on that. How could I have caught that? Somebody tell me there's got to be a way that I could have caught that. Oh, no, I got a punt. I don't know how to punt. I've never punted. The last time I punted was on like Madden 98.
It's kind of like the regular kick, I think. See, I'm terrible at that. I'm talking about the mechanics.
It doesn't look at that thing. Doesn't look the same. All right, God.
We'll see. We'll see.
I think I screwed it up. Oh, no. Oh, I pounded that thing.
Yeah.
I wished I would have aimed for the corner or something. But
someone said left route next time.
Is that what he said?
Yeah.
All right.
Other people said nice kick.
All right. See, that's good feedback. That's good feedback. Oh, no. You got a good quarterback. You got a good quarterback.
See. He is. He is a good quarterback.
First turn of the game for James Cook.
Nice run.
I tried.
I did the coach suggestion, and I think the coach gave me a bad play there. I'm going to do my own stuff here.
See, you're a pro though, so you can call these audibles.
Well, I think I know what these guys are doing, but I don't know which damn button to push to make my guy be a beast. That's what I need. Here we go. Here we go. Oh, nice catch. How'd you do that? He kept his feet in play.
I spent a solid 2 days in the tutorials here, so I was doing drills.
If the damn Republican Congress would come back in and pass a farm bill, you'd be doing that. So
I know that if it's a tough catch, you hit A for a possession catch to make it a little bit safer.
That is a flex right there.
So.
That you just dropped. That was a flex. Oh no. Oh no.
Oh, almost.
Jared Allen's mad. He's looking for a flag. I was all over you. They could have called that maybe. The old Madden, you used to have like cheat codes and there'd be things you could.
Yeah, and in the tutorial mode, they kind of like show you, they remind you. Here we go. They remind you who's like running or who you're passing to, but.
Oh, you faked it. Yes. That was tricky. I would like to say that I thought you were going to, but I got pure luck there. That was absolute luck. I appreciate your boldness.
I play like I govern, Governor.
And so you're out there helping everybody. What are you hearing from folks? You're talking about some of the things people care about. What are they talking about? Because Vice President's out there talking about reproductive rights, talking about climate, talking about making sure we're doing the things that we're hearing from folks.
I'm hearing a lot about housing.
It's huge.
And like our rents right now are just out of control.
Oh, big boy.
Our rents right now are out of control. Mortgages are out of control.
Yep.
And I think people just see these prices going up and up and up and up. And I know for people in my generation.
Yeah, owning a home. And that's, I hear the Vice President talk about it. This down payment assistance thing is huge. I was able to buy my home because I use the VA home loan, to be able, so you don't have to have a down payment. So you can get into a home and keep your, relatively reasonable. Now with mortgage rates coming back down, I think one of the big pieces here is the housing, just having more housing in general.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we need
and then
we need to increase housing supply and the kinds of housing too that we're building.
The naturally affordable and all that. But look, we had 12% more housing units in Minneapolis over this last several years. Rents have come down 4% during that time because we have more available. And one of the things is stopping these speculators from buying up homes and driving up the prices. I'm in a debate with JD Vance and he says, the reason housing's so expensive, migrants are buying them all. That's crap. That's not true. The reason is these speculators are buying them up and driving up the price.
Here's Darnold.
Gotcha. Oh, you picked. That was huge. Oh no, that's a pick six.
Juke.
Oh my God, nice. It was almost a pick six. Who picked it? Sam Darnold, I believed in you. I believed in you, Sam Darnold, when you came to Minneapolis. Oh, no, Sam. Oh, it's Hamlin. Oh, that's a great story, too, in real life.
That is. It really is.
Look at you. You like made that happen.
I think he just gave himself maybe a look on that side of the ball down the road.
I got to have some more moves here.
Here's Allen.
Get there.
Brought in by Hollins. And he's stopped at the 31-yard line.
We're down to 142. You got timeouts, too. I don't know how to call them, but I know you got them.
I don't know how to call them either.
Somebody give a suggestion there to the representative.
Yeah, people need to give me some tutorials out here.
She's in a good spot here to maybe score this thing before the half.
Can I do it?
I don't know. I'm coming hard on this one.
I believe it. And you're a defensive coach, so.
Shooting gap on you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you got good protection.
Oh,
that stops clock.
I think if you look up in phase and the defensive inside.
Yeah, the housing is a big one. And look, I think I'm assuming maybe this audience is skewing a little young. When I went to college, I used GI Bill, but at the same time I went to college, you could go to the University of Minnesota and pay the tuition if you worked a summer job that paid you minimum wage, because we invested on the front end. So I'll tell you what really irritates me is people saying it's like some type of freebie for folks when we do student loan forgiveness. It is not. It's a one generation that didn't invest the way we should have, because it was much cheaper for me to go to school because the generation that came before me invested. We have this generation in Donald Trump cutting taxes and then making it more difficult to go to school.
I think this is also an area where young people often feel very frustrated generationally.
They should. I think
because a lot of us just want things that they saw our parents have. And
yes. Yeah, just to be clear, what you just said is, our generation had to work for it. Our generation had it cheaper because they paid for it on the front end. So I don't want to hear this nonsense that we did it ourselves without. It's not true. That's why the student loan, repayment, it's the same thing we got. What difference did it make?
People are telling me to call a timeout. Y'all, I don't know what button to press to call a timeout.
Oh, damn, we ran out of half.
Oh,
that was me talking about that. And I was about to bring up for your folks on here this idea of freedom. The two things that I've been talking about on the campaign trail: freedom to make your own bodily choices, which I know you have been an absolute champion on, and the freedom to not get shot dead by people, whether you're in school or in your workplace. And I'm a hunter. I talk about it a lot. Vice President and I, we're both gun owners. Donald Trump can't pass a background check to own a gun because he's a felon. But it doesn't mean because you own a gun that you don't believe in common sense things to protect kids. So my son, I have an 18-year-old. Are we going another quarter here? Or what are we doing?
I'm not sure.
I probably got to go work or something.
Yeah.
So
I think so.
More fun.
But Governor Walz, I did have like a couple of questions too on a housing front as well.
Yeah.
Because I know that there's types of housing that we're looking to construct, and there's all different kinds of housing. I actually recently unveiled a social housing bill that's really been very exciting for a lot of us. And it's about really building different kinds of housing for different places.
Yeah.
And I'm interested in your perspective as a governor.
So you're talking single family, multifamily, whatever it may be. And
single family, multifamily.
You running into local zoning issues and things?
Oh yeah, all the time. In fact, I have a local PAC, and we support city council candidates and all sorts of other candidates. And we've kind of gotten to the time where, you know, when I want to support someone who's running for office, I want to know if they're going to end single family zoning in a given area, especially in a dense place like New York City.
Yeah,
because we need more units. We need lots of different things. We need more units. We personally in New York City, we need to go after bad landlords. We need to go after folks who are buying up tons of housing stock. We've actually started to.
I agree. This one irritates me.
Yeah.
This goes back to the JD Vance thing. Immigrants. Well, where are they getting the money? Where are they buying the houses? You know, it's not it. It's these speculators. Then you've got, you know, his buddy Vance, the dipshit, and between him and Elon Musk, trying to make the case that unregulated on these speculators, no, you know, the carried interest issue and all the things that they're focusing on. No one cares about any of that. What people care about is there a house there, and do I have access to capital to be able to buy it and raise my family in it? I think, and I think we keep talking. Some of these are going to be local decisions that need to be made, but we saw it in Minnesota when the state invested historic amounts, $1 billion in you know, housing infrastructure bonds, and freed up some of the people to do the things you're talking about. Well, lo and behold, now we have more units. Rents came down.
And I think also in the lead up to this election, first of all, what you said, I think is totally right, is that I do believe that we're going to win this. I believe we need to work our asses off every day between now and election day in order to win this. The stakes are insanely high. And it means, to me, coalition politics and practicing coalition politics means bringing together people who are honest about their differences, but also clear about our common cause. And so,
shared
you
values.
know, we've seen folks that are Republicans or maybe former Republicans, and having them increasingly feel comfortable saying, you know what, we need to reject Donald Trump. But I think also on our end, I speak with a lot of folks who sometimes struggle feeling motivated in participating in an election. And I'm curious for you, you know, first of all, to me, I think it's important to normalize not being on the same page in certain issues, but also understanding that we're really in this together. And so to me, I'm curious, like, you know, for what your thoughts are on people who are distraught over what's happening in Gaza, or they may see other parts of the party where they're concerned about the role of big money in politics, which transcends all party. What do you have to say?
They're not wrong about the big money. Yeah, they're not wrong. Look, you and I both, we come from where folks are at. I was a school teacher, 40 years old before I ever ran. I ran in a red district, had one other Democrat since the late 1890s. And we won. And I think it was because we were talking honestly to people. People like, oh, you won and you were for choice. And in 2006, you were for gay marriage and you won in spite of that. I said, no, I won because of it. And then we focused on the issues people cared about getting things done. And I have a mantra that I said, you don't win elections to bank political capital to get elected again. You win elections to burn political capital, improve lives. So I think the folks who are most frustrated, they need to see things getting done. And in Minnesota, I'm proud. Free breakfast and lunch, paid family and medical leave, child tax credit, which the vice president's talking about, housing infrastructure, college, and then rectifying some of the wrongs. I just came with a group of indigenous leaders. I was a candidate, I think they said the first one since 1968, to go out to the Navajo Nation and tell them that, you know what, we have issues that we need to deal with, and we need to respect sovereignty, and we need to work with our tribal nations. And when people see you come, stand in front of them, not just to ask for their vote, but come and say, look, here's the things we did. Here's the things we've done. You guys, if it weren't the Republicans, when you had the majority, you were moving things and you were helping. And I'll tell you, we saw it in the States. This is the golden age of infrastructure and jobs and job training and apprenticeship programs. So I think those of you that are listening, hold people accountable. Don't expect you're going to get 100% agreement, but see if they share your values. And right now, it couldn't be clearer. I mean, where Donald Trump's going, surrounding himself, as I said again, and I'll continue to say it, dipshits like Elon Musk and the people around him, people who have no interest. We got JD Vance calling a man who punched a poll worker a patriot. This is unacceptable. And if you could not agree with the policies on this, but to agree that how we do our politics, what the democracy stands for. And I would encourage some of you, if you think it's too hard to do this, iwillvote.com. They'll take you right to it. It's a better tutorial than it's a better tutorial than Madden, even though Madden's a good one. But if you can learn how to punt on Madden, you can vote in any state. I'll guarantee you that.
That's for sure.
Go and do that. Get engaged. Make a difference, and don't let them take your power. If you think you're going to vote for a third-party candidate or something, or you're going to stay home, that doesn't work. It doesn't work. And again, I say this. At this point in time, don't judge me against the Almighty, judge me against the other guy. And at this point in time, where they're taking you down reproductive freedoms, denying climate change, saying that, Social Security is a Ponzi scheme, wanting to cut Medicare and wanting to give tax cuts to billionaires. I don't think many of you out there, good for you. If some of you are billionaires listening, good for you. But for the rest of us who are not billionaires, we simply know that when we collectively work together, we can have a good education system, we can have safe communities, we can have clean water and clean air. And I keep coming to this. What you do in your bedroom and who you love, that's your business. What you do at your doctor's office, that's your business. What you read, that's your business. My mantra I've been saying is mind your own damn business. These guys want to mind your business. It's not too hard. They want to know what you're doing online, what games you're playing, what you're watching. That's not who we are. So
that's exactly right. Hopeful. I am too. And I think we actually have some clips streamed up to get some reactions to in terms of what Trump and Vance and some of these folks have been doing. You are like skillful here. Look, this is I'm Boomer X. I'm that year 64, but I'm not an a-hole one, just so the people listening know. You're a good one.
I recognize that. I'm a good one in this. So, but you are here, but I'm kind of an early adapter on tech and stuff, though. I do that. And so I want to see how you do this.
All right. Well, we've got some folks helping us out here too, which is really good. So I think we're ready to roll the first clip here.
They say I don't believe it's this much, but it doesn't have to. I lost by I didn't lose, but they say I lost, Joe. They say I lost by 22,000 votes.
What the hell?
Yeah.
Is he talking about the last election?
He's talking about the last election. That's Trump on Rogan this week, actually. But you see, actually, can we play that again? Let's play this thing one more time.
Right. They say that I don't believe it's this much, but it doesn't have to. I lost by I didn't lose, but they say I lost, Joe. They say I lost by 22,000 votes. He's laughing because his brain is broken there. That's a boomer guy. That guy's 80, keep in mind. I'm 60. So just so you know, that is an old guy there screaming at clouds, denying an election.
And you see too, Rogan's just laughs at him instantly. And
I don't know him. Do you know? Have you been on his show?
I haven't been on his show, but I know of him. It's kind of a crazy story, but actually when I used to waitress, way back in the day, this was at this point, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago when I
a real waitress, not put on a McDonald's apron and act like you insult people who really work. Right.
No, it's not it's not the costume that Trump put on.
I didn't piss you off when he did that. It did me. It insulted the workers who were there. And then he has policies to cut their pay, cut their overtime, cut their health care. And he thinks it's okay to go in there.
Yeah. He starts talking about this whole thing about, not taxing overtime. It's because he doesn't believe in overtime. He doesn't believe in overtime. And
he always makes up stories. Did you notice a lot of people got sick after he worked at McDonald's?
Oh yeah, they showed
I'm not saying he did it. I'm not saying, he does that.
That man stuck his hands in the fries and McDonald's had E. coli the next day. So
yeah, but so you're out there, you're working, and Rogan or know of him.
Yeah. And I actually, when I first started waitressing, because I waitressed for years, this wasn't just a summer job type thing. I waitressed until I became a member of Congress.
That's super hard work, right?
It is, right? Insanely hard work. And you're doing you're opening early mornings, you're closing late nights if you're bartending. And I used to set up the restaurant. And when you're setting up a huge restaurant, the place I worked in had a lot of tops on it, had a lot of tables. And so you're refilling every sugar caddy, you're refilling every ketchup bottle, you're setting every seat, hundreds of seats at
Would
6
you
o'clock
agree?
in the morning.
I say the hardest jobs I ever worked paid me the least amount of money.
Mm-hmm.
Like the
Yeah.
physical labor jobs things paid the least
That's how
amount of
it
money. They
is.
were hard.
That's how
work.
it is. And
Yeah.
so I used to set up, and I actually used to listen to Rogan in the morning. But this was like 10 years ago before it got, I feel like the podcast started, like they started having, let's just say, more political guests at
Yeah.
a certain point. But there was a time before they had like too many people, in my opinion. I think sometimes it's like there's a lot of guests that complain about PC culture and whatnot, but that's a whole different thing. But like I would listen to Rogan in the morning when I set up the restaurant, and like it is interesting how you have Trump just coming on to podcasts like these, and it's just like he's coming on here trying to deny an election, and Rogan laughs in his face because the thing is so ridiculous. Like
That's what he was
regardless
laughing
of,
about, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we have a next clip here to react to as well. Let's cue it up.
So it was extremely rich when Trump was asked if the minimum wage should be
Okay,
raised.
speaking of
And
McDonald's.
Instead of assuring the people actually working there, he just said this.
Well, I think these people work hard, they're great, and I just saw something, a process that's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing to see. These are great franchises and produce a lot of jobs, and it's great. And great people working here too.
But minimum wage is
recently increased.
So, yeah.
He doesn't know what minimum wage is. I guarantee he doesn't know what minimum wage is.
First of all, he looks like Ronald McDonald in that costume.
That's what I said. He's wearing less makeup than Ronald. Maybe
Yeah.
more. I don't know.
I don't know. He might
You're
be
right,
wearing a
you're
little
right.
more. But
So,
but yeah, no, here's the thing. He doesn't even believe in raising the federal minimum wage.
No. And he's talked about it. Well, look, you heard him and Musk talking about if somebody wants to go on strike to ask for better or safer working conditions, you fire them, and then they laughed. That's who they are. This is what happens when you're like, when is enough with these guys? What is Musk? This guy's the richest guy in the world, dancing on the stage, as I said, like a dipshit. And I continue to say that because apparently his ego and his skin is so thin, he finds the need to respond to those things. But look, go use your money for good. Why don't buy meals for kids in schools? Help clean up a river. Do something. You don't need another tax cut. Goodness sakes.
It's so weird to me how
Got
these
his own
folks-
rockets. If you've got a rocket, you don't need any more money.
That's exactly right. Like people have so much, and it's just not enough. And I mean,
pay your workers. Great. If you're creating jobs, pay your workers. Take care of them.
All right. I think we have another clip rolled up. Let's hit the next one.
These are terrifying.
Absolutely wild times. It really, really is. And, there's a lot going on. Like, I don't know if you guys know this, but there's literally a floating island of garbage in the middle of the ocean right now. Yeah. I think it's called Puerto Rico. Okay. All right. Okay. We're getting there. No.
Who is that jackwad? Who is that guy?
Actually, I think that's Tony Hinchcliffe, which is super disappointing. I mean, he's a comedian. I don't follow
look,
this
Trump, this
crew
issue
very
with Puerto
closely,
Rico
but-
again. I saw it. This was when he went down after Helene, the horrific hurricane, people there, everybody coming together. We sent helicopters down from Minnesota and personnel. This is how you do this during this. And in the first hours, Trump complaining about the response. Does anybody remember how he responded to Maria in Puerto Rico? It was absolutely horrific. Down there insulting people, throwing it. Look, I know that the folks who are on here today understand this. People in Puerto Rico are citizens. They pay taxes and they serve in the military at almost a higher rate than anybody else.
Yeah. I mean, it's like super upsetting. Obviously, it's super upsetting to me. My family is from Puerto Rico. I'm Puerto Rican. And like the thing that is so messed up that I wish more people understood is that the things that they do in Puerto Rico are a testing ground for the policies and the horrors that they wish to, and that they do unveil in working class communities across the United States. And I need people to understand that when you have some a-hole calling Puerto Rico floating garbage, know that that's what they think about you. That's just what they think about you. It's what they think about anyone who makes less money than them. It's what they think about the people who serve them food in a restaurant. It's what they think about the people who fold their clothes in a store. Like,
you're right.
Are you serious? Are you serious?
Yeah, the privilege of being on this campaign is traveling across the entire country. There are hundreds of thousands of Puerto Ricans in battleground states that need to send them a message on this.
I want them to
gotta vote.
Roll that. I want everyone in Philadelphia to see that clip. If you live in Philly, why don't you go and see that
Reading?
Clip?
Yes.
If you live in Reading, Pennsylvania, which I was there, I was in Reading last week. If you're in Reading, if you're in Philly, look at that trash. Like, what is trash is people actually just thinking of other human beings that way. Are you actually for real? And the thing that gets me is that these people their entire lives rely on working class people. If you have someone that's not there to harvest the crops that show up in your grocery store, in your Erewhon or your Whole Foods or wherever it is that you go to eat, if you think lesser of working class Americans, of
caring
people
for
who
our children, caring for our parents, the caring professions, the SEIU folks, they're working hard to make sure those care providers at home. These are the hardest working people you ever find. They're providing dignity to our parents at the time in their, this is who they are, and they continue to insult. So look, I know there's folks out there listening this thing with Puerto Rico and again, how they handle it. That's how they think about us. And Trump talks about the enemy from within. I think you and I know we're at the top of that list, but
hell yeah.
Those of you who are on here today, you're on that list too. If you happen to think that women should make their own healthcare choices, or maybe we should address climate change, or God help us, we shouldn't have our kids get shot in school. If you have those type of crazy ideas, that's on the list because that's how they do this. And then they want to, say you shouldn't have anything to say. Look, we got 9 days. Here's the good news is I keep saying there aren't any guardrails. Supreme Court's kind of gone. No guardrails. Your colleagues, Republican colleagues in Congress, I've been saying, I don't know how they stand up without spines. That must be a trick because they don't have any. But look, the last and greatest guardrail is the American public.
That's right.
Let's not give this guy a chance to do this stuff. It's unnecessary.
And I actually think we have a positive clip to roll too.
Positive people.
Yeah, this is the thing. It's important for us. Yeah, we need to talk about what the stakes are, but it's important for us to talk about the vision and what we want to do with power too. So I think we have a happy clip that we want to roll. It
is now.
No, tell people what this is. Tell people what this is.
All right, folks, what you're witnessing, and this is totally spontaneous. We in Minnesota passed a law that every child who goes to our schools gets free breakfast and lunch. And these were a bunch of kids at a school. Here's what humanity looks like. You know why those kids are so happy? Because we just said their classmates can come to school and not be hungry anymore. Kids get it. Be a decent
So this is for
human
free
being.
lunch, right? When you were governor, signing a bill for free lunch.
Yeah, and you know that, free lunch for all the kids. Look, we'll save money on this. You can either buy school lunches or prison lunches. We would rather buy school lunches and get kids off to a good start and get them going. So, yeah, thanks for showing that. That was like, everybody's like, oh my God, that was such a totally organic, because you know why? Little kids are good human beings and they cared about their neighbor. They cared about their other kids. So that's I'm proud of that. When I get asked, what's the proudest thing we did in Minnesota? We did a lot. That might be at the top of the list.
Well, and I think it's also important, Governor Walz, for people to see that, because I think it's important for people to know the context too. You were presiding over a very close state legislature, right?
One senator.
You had a 1-seat advantage. And a lot of times when you win by that little bit of a margin, people will say, play it safe, try to, do what Republicans want you to do. And in Minnesota, while you were governor, you swung for the fences. You won the races that you needed to win. But when you had that power, during the time to govern, you used it and you were
To
willing
improve
to
lives.
take political risks with a narrow margin in order to change people's lives. And to me, I think that personally is what has been so exciting about your selection as a vice presidential nominee, because to have that philosophy of governance is really important. And having been, on the House floor and been behind the doors sometimes in tense political moments, fear has a way of taking over.
It does. It does.
And look, you didn't do that.
No, thanks. And I think I learned that in the House. Look, I didn't go to Congress to get reelected. I remember the ACA vote, which was one of my proudest ones in the summer of 2010. That was the start of all this Tea Party and all that. And I just remember when I was talking to my staff or whatever, I said, look, if we came here to vote and expand healthcare and we lose because of that, that's not a bad career. I'll just go home and teach school again. And I think this idea, I watch you talk about these things, but I'm really impressed. The ability to say, look, can we compromise? Can we work together? But I want to be clear. You're dealing with some of the folks in Congress. There's no interest in compromising. They don't see you as legitimate. They don't see you as mattering. So, hey, I've got to go, but I wanted to try something if you think I can, since you got me on here. I asked my team. Back in the old days, I had that Sega Dreamcast. They had kind of I don't know if it came, your folks on here could probably tell me. It either came before or right after Grand Theft Auto, which I thought was a little, might not be. I was teaching school. I thought that's a little bit harsh. So there was a game similar to it, Crazy Taxi. And
oh my gosh.
You drive around. I don't know if you've ever seen it. But I'm going to come on here in a minute. Here we go. I'm going to play this thing.
Go ahead and pick.
Okay, so here's the deal too. You can pick these characters, and if you get really good, I found this out, and it might be the coolest thing that I've had happen to me. There's a character of me in there.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I'm terrible. I don't know the controllers on Xbox, but I just wanted to try it once with you.
Oh my gosh.
I got to go pick these people up. Get in, dude. And here we go. And then you got to drive them to their destination.
To the cable car stop. Oh my gosh.
This is like.
Is this how you drive in real life?
Is that a smart ass comment about New York? Oh no, there we go. Yeah, see, sweet.
Dude, okay, you're good.
I'm not bad.
Oh my god.
Wait. Oh, dude.
You're like
he overran his spot. I had the money in my pocket. Here we go. I got it. I got to just
run the meter.
I got to get my money.
Oh my gosh.
Hop out. Give me the money.
Cash.
All right, give me the cash. Now I got to go pick up somebody else.
No tap to pay here.
Oh, I'm stuck. I got to back. Oh, I forgot how to reverse.
Oh my gosh.
It's a new deal.
The music is good.
Oh, here we go. Oh, sorry, dude. Hop in. Yeah, see, it's not bad. It's kind of retro, right?
Yeah, I like it a lot.
All right, hold on.
Okay, you're making a lot of money on this shift, though. So you got 463.
It's like a New York. I'm like a New York daddy. I'm like driving the wrong way. They think I'm a tourist.
You're charging tourist prices up here on these fares.
Oh, go. Sorry about that. Oh, this is San Fran. Watch this. I'm flying over this one. Out of the way, people.
Oh,
that was a problem. That is a problem right there. Sorry. See, this doesn't feel quite as bad as Grand Theft, does it?
No, not at all.
Like
but also chaotic.
It's very chaotic.
This is great.
So this was the game back in '99. I know. Am I getting really punked hard on the comments?
No. People are like super excited.
All right, because if you haven't got this, go get this game, people. It is really sweet. Oh, shit.
You started playing this because an intern brought it to your office. Is that right?
No, I took it back there. I just
you brought it.
Well, see, it was the first time I had a real job. I was like an adult, and I had money, and I was like married, and my wife was not really approving of. She thought it was a little bit. In those days,
she didn't want Crazy Taxi in the house.
No, and I had money, and so I went out and I bought a Sega Dreamcast, which was the. Oh, come on, dude! Come on, spin that car. I don't think this is me. I think it's my driver. I think I'm almost done here. But I went and got this, and it was the wildest thing. This is the retro version. Oh, I'm on the wrong side. It doesn't matter. So
So
oh shoot!
So you brought it to the office because they didn't want crazy taxi in the house.
And my wife said, "You need to get rid of it and be like a real person or whatever." And I put it on Facebook or whatever. Had the intern picked it up. I don't remember exactly how that story went. I probably should. The Republicans will accuse me of never having a Dreamcast or something. Now they are, so because I'm talking.
I don't think anyone can watch you play this and say you've never had a Dreamcast. Is what I gotta say.
Well, hey, just before I go, you're the best. Appreciate all you do. Got to tell people to go vote. Go vote. There's a new way forward here. Our politics can be joyful, fun, engaging. Everybody can participate. There's plenty to go around. Paul Wellstone, our late senator, said we all do better when we all do better. And I think we're trying to let everybody all do better.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for being with us and joining me today for some games and things like that. No, totally.
Invite me
absolutely.
Back. Regular.
That's what I'm thinking about doing. It's been so fun every time we do it. So we might just
do you think a vice president is ever gamed?
I think you're the first. It
might be. I don't think Dan Quayle was gaming, man.
I don't
have games.
I don't think anyone has streamed themselves playing Crazy Taxi before.
All right. Thanks. We'll see y'all.
Of course. Have a good one. Bye, Gov.
Bye-bye.
That was crazy. That was crazy. That was so fun. Holy cow. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. That was so nuts. What did you all think? I'm trying to follow the chat. I'm trying to follow the stream. I'm a little rusty, so I apologize if I'm not as quick on the pickup. But I know I say this, but genuinely, we finally kind of have our act together here on the stream setup. Every time I've done it before, it's been in my apartment and I've been messing with the stream deck and all this other stuff. And so, especially because I travel so much between DC and New York, it's been hard to get a consistent setup. But now we have a legit one. I'm in my campaign office right now. And I'm really I'm excited to maybe make this a thing. And I've also always thought about what the format would be if I were to stream more regularly, because I know y'all don't want to see the same game every week or Stardew every week or Among Us every week. But and I also want to find a way to be able to have good conversations with people. So I don't know. I was thinking maybe having a guest pick the game. And then I just try to scramble to learn it. And so that we're kind of in their comfort zone. But anyways, I'm interested in what your all's thoughts were, what you thought about it, and how we kind of talk about these things too, because having the questions set up, and really kind of what Walz was talking about, I think was really important. And from a political perspective, what I think is important is us really talking about the coalition piece here. I know it can be rough leading up to an election, not just as a progressive, but as someone from a low propensity voting community, to sometimes see campaign stops and wonder, is the campaign only interested in talking to a narrow subset of people that they consider persuadable? But I don't think that Governor Walz would have hopped on here if he didn't really, really value the power of the coalition that we have here. And I think, to me, these are signs that are important for governance and when it's time to govern, because our role is to push. I can't wait for this election to be over on a lot of different fronts. Presidential elections are a slog. I am tired of hearing about Trump, and I don't want to hear about him again. He's going to be at MSG here. He's here in New York. He's going to be in MSG later today. I want to care and talk about what we want to do, and housing and healthcare. And to me, that's about the coalition that we have governance is, yes, about who's in the White House. It's also about how many House seats we can pick up. It's about the activism that we're doing in the streets, the political pressure that we're putting on. I really appreciate folks that are bringing up everything from trans rights in the chat, Gaza in the chat, housing in the chat, healthcare in the chat, because it is this level of organization and cohesion that is important in order to uplift the issues and the priorities that we need when it's time to govern. So I think it's like super important. And y'all, like, we need to vote. Like, I think I kind of said this on Instagram the other day too. I think sometimes there's multiple lenses to view voting through. And again, I said this on Instagram, but one lens of viewing voting is as a personal, almost like a personal expression, in that the person you vote for is an extension of yourself and your own values. And if you see it that way, yeah, it is super fraught and challenging. And it adds a layer of, like, I think, difficulty to the point that it's almost an impossible form to engage. You can see it as that, which almost no other person is going to be a one-to-one extension of yourself. But you can also see it as choosing the conditions that we'd be organizing under. There are areas in which, and I think it's important too, I want to use Gaza as an example, is that we have to win on, like, the conditions. And by that, I don't mean Trump. I'm not just saying Trump would be worse. Of course he would be worse. And if you've seen some Al Jazeera articles recently, if you've seen some other reporting, Palestinians on the ground are quite clear about how they do not want Donald Trump to become president of the United States. But on top of that, I think that what's also really important is that we need to win races overall. We need to win seats in the House. We need to be vocal, not just with our elected officials, but also whenever there's an open seat. All the time we have open seats, we need to be able to show and demonstrate that there is an electorate and that electorate votes. Because, and I'm just going to be, like, super candid, elected officials, I think they take a step back and they look about where they can get votes. And there's two sides of the coin. It's not saying that not vote. I'm not here to vote shame people. I don't believe in that. I do believe in laying out a strategy and a vision. I also don't think not voting cleans anyone's hands of what's going on. If you don't vote, I think I just don't think I don't think that we have the privilege in the United States of opting out of what happens in our country, and say, okay, well, I didn't vote for it, so it's not my fault. I don't, like, we have a responsibility to engage ourselves in the material conditions that we live in. And anyways, what I mean by that is that the president and whoever's in the White House is enormously consequential. They are also subject to pressures of the system. And so when we defend and when we elect and successfully defend members of Congress who take the right stance on things, when we also mobilize and are strategic about our targets, then we're able to build momentum and power. And so to me, and again, like, this could be an area where folks may have disagreement or critique, but I do not look at exercising or making decisions based on a lens of punishment. I look at my decisions based on a lens of power. And by that, I mean, how do the communities that we, or the priorities that we believe in, build political power momentum? And if there's not an immediate option, which I rarely think there ever an immediate option to not build power, there's almost always an opportunity to do that. But if you don't see one, we have, I think, a responsibility to at least select less hostile conditions. And when you look at Donald Trump, he's not joking around. When people want to say, how would it be worse? He believes in the mass jailing of opposition. I'm not here to say, and before people say that happens currently, I'm not here to say that it doesn't. I'm not here to say that activists do not get treated fairly constantly now. But under a fascist regime, under authoritarian regimes, we do not need to look far in other places to see what happens to dissidents and journalists and professors and mass. And I don't think that, the internet sometimes can be a place of hyperbole. Like, people can just like get into these thought experiments or these theoretical conversations, and that is a path that can easily get paved into false equivocation. Trump and Harris are not the same, like not in any way the same. And I think we don't need to, we can stop pretending with that. Women are dying and bleeding out in parking lots in Texas. This isn't a game. If you think you live in New York, if you think you're safe on abortion rights or mass surveillance or any of that, if you think you live in California and you're safe from that, you're not. They want to pass a national abortion ban. There was reporting recently that showed that they could track people. They had the technology to track people's cell phones. And if they crossed a state border, for example, from Alabama or somewhere else to seek an abortion, or if they went somewhere else, period, to seek an abortion. And I think, there's something that Michelle Obama recently delivered this speech that was so powerful the other day. I think it was in Houston. But like, we can stop playing around with the notion that abortion only affects women or non-binary people. Because first of all, if you impregnate somebody and it's an unwanted pregnancy for both parties, and they don't have access to abortion care, you are a father. You become a parent too. And it's not just up to a woman or a pregnant person's life that gets upended and not being able to go to college or not being able to have a certain job or move somewhere or live their lives. It's you. And it's so wild to me when people talk about the economy as though in a forced pregnancy or being forced to carry a pregnancy to term is not one of the most economically impactful things to happen to you. And I mean, even from a miscarriage, like being forced to carry an unviable pregnancy and the medical bills associated with that, or having a child that was a result of an unwanted pregnancy, is a massive, massive economically life-changing thing. And, let alone the fact that a government official can take control of your body against your consent. The thing that gets me that people don't realize is that also when they talk about Donald Trump or even people in the Supreme Court, Donald Trump is a convicted sex abuser. You then have folks like Brett Kavanaugh or Clarence Thomas, who have been credibly accused of assault. And what I think is important is like people also think that these terms are insults and they're like names that they call people. It's not. When you elect sexual abusers to office, you get sexually abusive policies that are passed. And that's what Trump's and Vance's abortion ban is. It's a sexually abusive policy. That's what their mass surveillance on people who seek to get reproductive rights. That's what they seek to do to, all of this BS and these ads that they're doing about trans people and the trans community. Like, these are this is a sexual abuser that wants to codify sexual abuse as part of the law. That's what this is. And we're gonna pretend that there's any equivocation here. Like, I think this is something that we need to and someone said here, not a single Palestinian will benefit from not voting blue. It's true. It's true. And at the very least, what we are able to do with a trifecta is empower the dissidents within the Democratic Party in order to try to shift the momentum on things. And it's interesting because people think that there's no difference between the two parties. But one thing that's actually kind of behind the scenes that a lot of people may not appreciate is that I'm in the House of Representatives. So the House the House is under Republican control. And the Senate is under Democratic control. All of these headlines that you've seen about Congress passing XYZ thing for completely unconditional aid or for ignoring human rights abuses or even cutting off funding to UNRWA, the UN humanitarian, the refugee assistance, that was done by Republicans. That was done by the Republican House. This was not that part, especially cutting off UNRWA, that part originated in the House. It's actually not all Democratic policy. And so there are differences. Now, I'm not here to absolve the Biden administration. I think the way that they have carried on this is horrific, ill-advised, bad for the United States, obviously horrific for Palestinians, bad for Israelis, etc. But I'm also not going, like, Donald Trump said, level the place. Donald Trump said, finish the job. Lindsey Graham said, level the place. Donald Trump said, finish the job. Let's not pretend here what the differences are. The stakes are way too high. And, what I'll say is, like, it's kind of crazy, but also just as a woman, like, to the men in my life, we can't do it alone. Like, we actually do need men our age to help protect us and protect everybody, and to step up in that. And I know that, like, people may say, oh, that's like, I know there's a lot of critiques on that, but we can't do it alone. There, like, this gender divide, like, we don't need that. We just don't. And it's really, really crazy to think that so many people could die, and that the election is this close. And we're going to need everybody to pull this off. We need folks that are skeptical and frustrated and upset, like me, like me, to vote. And I'm not here to shame. I'm not here to vote shame. I'm here to be brass tacks. I'm here to be straight up. This man is in Madison Square Garden. They're in Midtown, like a couple blocks down from me right now. And there's an army of people in red hats in Midtown Manhattan, which, by the way, I would much rather them be in Midtown Manhattan than knocking doors in Pennsylvania. So thank you, Donald Trump, for doing that. I would much rather them be in Midtown than knocking doors in Westchester County or Long Island or wherever it is on a fine Sunday afternoon, because please be the magnet for all those folks while we go out and do the work. And so, you know, I'm also feeling too, on the flip side, is that if we do win this thing, again, it needs to be won with us. Like, we don't want, if this election is won, which I think, you know, I'm like, speaking of baseball, I'm like very superstitious, but here's what I'll say. We are well positioned to win this race. And the polls are still very close. It's 50-50, it's neck and neck, which means we are just as likely, if you look at polls say we are just as likely to win this as we are to lose this. And so it will be made on the margins. This will be decided by people who decided whether they were going to both stay home or not stay home, and whether they were hedging maybe for voting, flirting, or thinking about voting Trump and changing their mind. And that's the tension. That's the reality of the situation. The election is going to be decided by both of those kinds of people. And so, you know, go to iwillvote.com, check out your voter registration. If you're in New York, we have swing seats in this state. New York is a swing state this year, in that the balance of the House of Representatives will be decided by the seats here in New York. Upstate in Ulster County with Pat Ryan. You've got Josh Riley upstate too. And sorry, I'm from the Bronx, so I use the term upstate liberally. I know this is a controversial New York take, but north of me, we got like 4 seats north of me. We got a bunch of other seats in Long Island. We got Laura Gillen out in Newport. And listen, I see some of these ads that Democrats cut. I don't like them. I think that we cede ground on immigration that we don't need to cede. But because we cede it, it becomes this self-fulfilling prophecy. Like, oh, we're losing the argument on immigration, so I need to tack right on immigration. And then, oh my God, like of course we're losing the argument on immigration, because we're not making an argument on immigration. We're not highlighting how economically devastating it is to engage in mass deportations in the United States. We're not telling people 1 in 15 people in this country live in a mixed status household. 1 in 50. Did you know that? Did you know that 1 in 15 people in the United States lives in a mixed status household, which means a mass deportation policy means tearing up 1 in 15 families in the United States. We don't make that argument well enough. And so then we're surprised when Republicans flood the zone, why tacking right doesn't work. Because if you want a Republican on immigration, and immigration is your number 1 issue, you're going to vote for the Republican. But if economy is your number 1 issue, we can talk about how, hey, maybe when you deport almost all our agricultural workers, or when you deport a huge portion of our construction workforce from the United States, we can't get housing, our rents go up, our groceries go up. You know, these Republican states with like really xenophobic policies and whatnot, they've been rolling back child labor laws, because they don't have enough immigrants and they don't have enough people to do this work. I mean, the CBO, the Congressional Budget Office, they released reporting and projections. They are nonpartisan. This is not a left-wing think tank or a right-wing think tank or whatever. They are nonpartisan. Republicans and Democrats use this data, and they cite this data. Immigrants added $7 trillion to the US economy. One of the only reasons that the US was able to survive and our economy was able to outperform other Western economies and other developed economies after COVID, through COVID, is because we accepted immigrants and we have immigrants to a degree that other nations don't. And that's actually a massive contributing factor to why our economy was able to prevail in a lot of different ways. And so when you do that one-to-one, if you care about the economy, you want a pro-immigrant public policy that documents people. And here's the real problem, is that you want to know why people are coming to this country in an undocumented fashion. It's because we don't give documents to people. Like, people want to be documented. People want to come through in an orderly way. People want to be safe. Like, living as an undocumented person in this country is such a state of fear that I wouldn't wish on anybody. And the only reason you choose that is because what you're coming from is 100 times worse. And also because you're able to make it work here. And the reason you're able to make it work here is because we have economic opportunities that everyday Americans just haven't availed themselves of, because we have so many open jobs in America. So anyways, that's my rant on that. But are there things that we disagree with as a party? Yes, absolutely. If you believe, or if there's a member of Congress that you think represents your values on an issue that really matters to you, and they are a Democrat or they're an independent that caucuses with Democrats, you should empower them. And you empower them by electing them into a majority and with a president that will sign their bills. And, this to me is just like so important. This is the coalition politics, and this is everything that we're here to do. So I'm super grateful to having you all on. Maybe I'll come back. Maybe I'll stream on my own, play a little Stardew, answer some questions, or just build my farm because I'm starting it from scratch, and just do Stardew. Sorry, it got a little intense here, but it's because we're 8 days out from an election and I'm losing my mind and I've got the little smoke coming out the top of my head, but get it together. Get it together, cast your vote. So we can be done with this. I do not want to do 4 more years of resistance nonsense under Donald Trump. Okay. Like, good God. Like, do we remember what it was like waking up every day and there was some shit going on? Like, do we want to live that? It was like day one. It's like child separation on Tuesday, Kofifi on Wednesday, what Omarosa was put in charge of. Like, do we want to live like this again? Are y'all like for real? Like, the people he put in charge of things, not only does he put sycophants, not only does he put people who have no idea what they're doing, but then also now you have Stephen Miller and they have this Nazi parade of people that they know exactly where they want to put in exactly what places. I'm glad the governor's off now because now I can pop off. See, you hear people laughing in the room because this is crazy. Like, the amnesia do we remember what this was like? Like, do we remember, waking up and it was like, okay, someone that was, first of all, every secretary was acting. Like, every secretary was acting. You had Steve Mnuchin as the Treasury Secretary, and he had like those weird gloves, like in the printing press, like with the mint in the mint, like, dude, looking like a TV villain. Like, these people are not joking. Donald Trump, after Jeff Bezos put the lid on the Washington Post not endorsing Kamala Harris, there's reporting that allegedly Donald Trump and Bezos had a meeting about Blue Origin contracts, government contracts. Elon Musk, why do you think they're doing that? They're not doing that because they're losers. They're doing it because they have a lot of money to make. They're doing it because the defense contracting and all of the other contracts that they stand to have with their space companies and everything else that they want to do, they want Trump to just sign their checks. And that's what they're in this for. That's what these billionaires, that's what the oil execs are in this for. That's what pharma execs. This is a class stand down. And it may not be like with the leftist rhetoric that some people may expect it to be, but understand that this week and that this election has been a mask off moment for plutocrats and billionaires in the United States of America that are trying to cast the final blow in buying our democracy. When Donald Trump says this is the last election, and if you vote for him, you won't have to vote anymore, don't think for a second that he's joking. He's not. And he uses this veneer and this TV veneer, and he is like so absurd that it's easy to interpret the things that he says as a joke. It's not a joke. This man is a rapist, okay? Understand what a human being like that is capable of violence like that, is actually willing to do behind closed doors. It's not a joke. It's not a joke. It's not a name calling. It's not any of that. And I'm going to tell you something. I think that when we form a coalition, because here's the thing, like I also empathize with the fact that the vice president has had to put together a presidential campaign in like 90 days. You know, she wasn't planning on running for president 4 months ago. She was planning on being vice president 4 or 5 months ago. And the situation is such, and developments have happened as such, that she has had to step into a role, into a position extremely quickly. People are mad, people are wanting like a fully fleshed out policy platform 5 minutes before an election when from an individual who didn't even know that they were going to be running for president 4 or 5 months ago. But understand the opportunity in that. There's on one side of the coin, there can be frustration. And also to her point, she is rolling out policy planks. You may think whatever you think about them, but she is rolling them out far more than anything Donald Trump has to say. But understand also the opportunity in a moment like that. If we can deliver this thing, we can help shape it. We can help shape it. And I saw it with President Biden. And I don't mean this just like on an individual level. I mean this in terms of like analysis of the landscape that we have here, and not centering them, but centering us and centering the movement for everyday working people. You know, when we help win, we help draw the design. And what happened with President Biden? Okay, it wasn't a personality thing. He did not want to do student loan forgiveness. In the primaries, he was like, publicly against any form of student loan forgiveness. He was a hard no on it, okay? They didn't believe in Green New Deal work. And they weren't pretending either. They weren't on board. But when the general election came, they needed a coalition. And we campaigned explicitly on climate and student loan forgiveness. We campaigned explicitly on that. And to me, what did we find afterwards? And it wasn't pretend either. He put me on a climate unity task force with Secretary John Kerry. And it was half folks from the Bernie Sanders campaign, half folks from the Biden team. And we developed the policy planks and the policy platform that eventually became the IRA, the Inflation Reduction Act. And there's a direct through line between that active coalition forming. And so what happened after he got elected? We had to agitate and organize a lot. Initially, Biden himself was one of our organizing opponents, but we were able to surround the board here. And what did he do? He announced mass student loan forgiveness. And for people who say that it didn't happen or that it got cut short or it was an unfulfilled promise, that was Trump's Supreme Court that did that. And also, if Donald Trump gets elected again, you know that the oldest members of the Supreme Court right now, who may retire or what have you, they will be replaced. He will put the youngest buck in there, and we will have a right-wing judiciary for the rest of our lives. And so, anyways, Biden's student loan forgiveness got overturned by Trump's Supreme Court. And even then, it wasn't totally overturned. Many of you all, maybe you're on the chat now, maybe not, you either are or know someone that actually did get their student loans forgiven in whole or part, or we got the SAVE program. We've got many other ways that interest rates were able to get addressed. And we still got a lot of work to do. You know, we're not here to say that we're done with that, but we can live another day to continue organizing with that. And that's one example of something that he said he was against, that we were able to maneuver and get the Biden administration to embrace. Civilian Climate Corps, key pillar in the Green New Deal. And we were laughed at, even by leaders in my own party or the speaker when I was first brought up there. I mean, they called it a joke. But we developed a climate coalition that actually helped deliver crucial states. And Biden was able to unveil Civilian Climate Corps. And it wasn't to the extent that we need, because, again, Republicans control the House, so we couldn't get the appropriation, the money to finance it, but we got some. And by him establishing it via executive order, using the power of his pen, now we're set up to be able to expand it a lot more. So, you know, we have a lot of work to do. We have an insane amount of work to do. I think that the military industrial complex is one of the biggest, it's just one of the biggest kind of monsters when it comes to money in politics. Understand how, just look at what happened when Joe Biden pulled out of Afghanistan. When they, you know, completed the plans that had been drawn up and pulled out of Afghanistan, the media, the way that the media went after him, and it never was the same again after that. That's not just objective policy. That's not just, you know, legitimate critique. It's not to dismiss any of that, but that's also the power of the lobbying arm of the military industrial complex in the United States. You will be punished for pursuing those kinds of policies. And so we have a lot of work to do when it comes to organizing. And we saw it with AIPAC this year, and the amount that they spent against Jamal Bowman and the amount that they spent against Cori Bush. But here's the difference, is that I look at AIPAC and all of their spending, and I think, okay, how are we going to beat them? I'm not going to look at them spending 20 million and say, oh, it's impossible. It's possible to beat them. We've beat them in the past, and they represent a generational position that is expiring, because what is happening in Gaza and what is happening in the Middle East is not about pitting people against one another based on their religion or race or creed. It's about wanting to see basic respect for human rights. Nobody wants to see what I have called a genocide unfold, but, you know, nobody wants, regardless of the term, because here's the thing, it's important to understand from an organizing principle, like who we need to win and how we need to grow in order to be effective. And so whether you use that term or not, nobody wants to see what is happening in northern Gaza, in all of Gaza, where children are being indiscriminately starved and killed due to withholding of humanitarian aid. And we do need to put pressure on the Biden administration. And my hope is any incoming Democratic administration to actually enforce US laws, which state that we cannot continue to supply foreign forces that withhold humanitarian aid or that violate humanitarian laws, Leahy laws, that will enforce Leahy laws. And so that's my perspective. Those are the policy positions that I advocate for. But we don't win these things by staying home. I'll tell you that much. We win them by taking our licks, being out in the arena. And I'm just really thankful to each one of you all that are here, that are joining today. I know we have our disagreements. I'm really thankful to folks who are supportive in the chat. If you're speaking up in the chat, that's cool too, but like at the end of the day, we got to do something. I ain't sitting my ass at home. I'll tell you that much. I'm out there in the street and I hope to see you there. So vote, cast your ballot, and let's live another day. We'll see you. Bye, y'all.